Let's talk money.
Welcome back. You're with us on Let's Talk Money, and this week we are discussing the innovation theme and whether we as investors need to look at it far more closely, whether we need to have a more dedicated approach towards investing in companies that are leading innovation here in India. And as you've just heard the experts tell us, innovation can have several definitions. It's not limited to AI or to internet commerce alone. So on that front, Ashish, let's get your thoughts, because you track the whole gamut of all these companies. Which sub-segments of innovation are you most bullish on?
So as you rightly said, it's not just a theme about new age companies. It is cutting across so many futuristic fields which are at the cutting edge, including AI, fintech, EV, digital platforms, clean energy, and advanced manufacturing. So when we look at our Axis Innovation Funds, it also has exposure not just to the Indian companies, but also to global companies, where we invest across the chain, starting from core tech disruptors. So for instance, if we take a pharma company in let's say, the developed markets like US, who is working along with Indian pioneers such as the CDMO players in India, you're playing across the supply chain. And that's how you really make the most out of the innovation theme. Where we do not have access to some of the companies in the Indian market, you can take that in the global side. Having said that, this is not just about the innovators or the new age companies. We also look at the enablers of innovation. So what we mean by that is companies who are, for instance, into semiconductors, battery technology, chemicals, R&D plays, for instance. All of these are enablers for, say, innovation in electric vehicles or, for that matter, electronics. Similarly, one can play with aerospace or defense component suppliers at the high end of technology. And also, if we want to play the green economy-led innovations, we can look at companies in the recycling space or even solar component manufacturers. On the other side, we can also look at companies who are adapting to innovations. So one of the examples that comes to mind is the Indian financial services space, where there are companies who are leveraging the digital infrastructure in the form of the India Stack as well as UPI, and they are able to transform their businesses. So all of these kind of include the gamut of innovation theme.
Okay, so those are all the examples of the innovation theme out there. But then really the question, gentlemen, that as an investor, I mean, I'm okay to take moderate risk, but I don't want to get too caught up. And like you said, many of these companies may not even be profit-making at the time that they start their listed market journey. So Shreyas, if, not a conservative, but say a medium risk investor wants to have a portfolio which is future ready, then what should he or she do? I mean, how do you add this piece of innovation to the portfolio?
So definitely the thematic fund, like innovation fund, definitely add a value to it. If you look at even Axis Innovation Fund, we have exposure to even foreign equity into it. So some part of the exposure actually is given to these new age technology businesses. Broadly, when it comes to the exposure to this space, what we believe is the investors should have exposure, but in a limited manner, and to the entire thematic space. It is not only about innovation. So that thematic includes multiple narrow themes. And in that context, in my opinion, innovation is definitely a broad-based theme wherein we touch upon right from consumption-oriented investment companies to EVs, to some other companies which are into the capital goods space, and obviously the foreign activities. So you get a great diversified exposure in this kind of theme. So one should have exposure to this, but in my opinion, in a limited, to the limited extent in the thematics.
Okay. Ashish, what would you say? I mean, what should the right mix be? And also talk to us about the right amount of allocation, because you don't want to have too much risk in the portfolio as well. So would you argue, I mean, you manage the innovation fund, of course, so would you argue playing it through the thematic route, and if yes, then you should be capping it at what level?
So absolutely. So the way Shreyash mentioned, I completely agree that overall thematic basket of the equity portfolio should not exceed about higher double digits, maybe 15% of the portfolio. Given that that is the prudent amount which one can have into some of these sectors. While innovation can give us exposure to high growth disruptive sectors, and while maintaining diversification and also managing volatility, what is also important is the time period that we have when we are holding these investments in the portfolio. There should be a time investment horizon of at least 5 years. The reason I say that, and as you rightly mentioned, some of these businesses are still evolving. They are still not yet profitable and not yet generating sustainable cash flows and profitability. So to that extent, there might be entry points which might require, let's say, higher valuation entry points, and then over a period of time that gets factored into the stock. So to that extent, to scale these longer gestation periods, one needs to have a slightly longer period of time horizon so that one can ride the valuation cycles and capture the full potential of this compounding growth.
Okay, fair enough. And it's important to keep those risks in mind as well. And on that, Shreyas, to sum it up, I mean, if you talk about the riskometer, right? So if we were to map the innovation theme vis-a-vis other thematic areas like consumption or let's say defense or manufacturing, then does it carry higher risk because it's a very futuristic theme? And if yes, finally, what are the checks and balances, and what are the final tips that you'd like to leave our viewers with, investors with, for investing in innovation?
Definitely at current juncture, since globally innovation-oriented stocks has gone up and the valuations are high. So standing today, definitely the valuation risk is one of the at the higher end when compared to the other themes as such. The good part is, as I highlighted, that unlike consumption or manufacturing or any other narrow thematic like defense, etc., this theme has investment across the multiple segments of economy, right, from consumption to, so it is well diversified compared to other thematics or narrow thematic schemes which are available in the market. However, because there is an element of innovation and there is an element of valuation re-rating which has happened over last 6 months to 1 year, because of which we definitely carry a valuation risk. And that's where Ashish explained that the time horizon for such investment in such theme should be up to 5 years.
Okay, all right. That explains the concept quite well, the risks and the potential rewards as well, if one looks at investing in the innovation theme here in India. Gentlemen, thank you so much. This was a very helpful conversation. Good to have perspective on this subject. Well, with that, we're out of time on this edition of Let's Talk Money. Thank you very much for joining in. Keep sending us your feedback, your comments and queries. We'll see you again next week.
Let's Talk Money